Hey yo, salute to the people. It's the Social Forecast. Today is Wednesday, August 7th, about 4:15 p.m. Just getting off my day job. As I was starting my short drive home, I came across a vlog that a YouTuber I follow and whose vlogs I watch often. And one of his vlogs was telling a story. In his story, he was talking about, I guess, a childhood friend of his who, as he put it, always spent her time and devoted her energy to being in service of others, looking out for other people, sacrificing for them, providing for them, doing for them, making sure that they were okay. And at some point in the story, he asked, "Why do you always do that?" And the girl responded, "Well, that's what you're supposed to do in life. You're supposed to be in service of others and look out for one another." And his response was kind of interesting to me. He said that he felt that was wrong, that she was wrong for being that way, because he, as he put it, if you spend all your time looking out for the next person and constantly being in service of the next person, at the end of the day, who's going to be there to look out for you? Who's going to be there to be in service of you? And I thought about it for a second, and I realized that's a small scale representation of the sum total of what is wrong with the world today and why life is so difficult. Because in the story, the friend isn't wrong. We are supposed to be in service of one another. But the irony is, he wasn't wrong either. Self-preservation dictates that we have to look out for ourselves first and last, because if we're not okay, if we aren't able to survive, then we can't provide what's needed for the next person to be okay, for the next person to survive. And I thought about it. And as a disclaimer, for the people who are overly religious, overly spiritual, I'm just using what I'm about to say as an analogy, so to speak. The world is like a room, a giant room, full of demons and angels. Most people, in my opinion, by default, want to assume the role of an angel. The problem is, most people, when they enter into that room and see the demons, they feel like they're the minority. They feel like they're outnumbered. And we all know the parable. If you're the only angel in the room full of demons, then it won't be too long before your life force is swallowed up, because there's not enough balance. Everything in science and everything in life tells us that everything needs energy to move. Everything needs a force. Now, that force can either be positive or it can be negative. And if there's too much negative, not enough positive, there's no balance. If there's too much positive and there's no negative, then things are still out of balance. The problem always seems to be that there's more negative than positive, because the positive that's there feels outnumbered, feels overwhelmed, feels like there is no certainty in the idea that more positive energy, that another positive force will reinforce them against the negative. And so soon, all positive turns negative. All angels convert to demons. Again, this is just an analogy. And I thought about it some more. And the truth of the matter is this: we are all supposed to be angels. We are all supposed to provide a force that is positive in nature to offset so much of the negative that's around us, because there will always be negative. In the world, there will always be an evil force, a negative force, a dark cloud. That's a given. There's no way to ever circumvent that. The hope is that there's enough positive, enough of the time to provide enough of an offset for there to at least be balance. You can't have anything too far on one end or the other of the spectrum. You just can't. Even something that's good for you in too much abundance becomes bad for you. There's a reason for why that is. Everything needs to have a balance. There would be no reason for those of you who are spiritual, who are religious, there would be no reason for God to create heaven and angels and not allow the existence of demons and hell and the dark forces, because even God understood before anyone else that you have to have balance. There's a choice that needs to exist on both sides, and then a person has to be allowed that free will to make that choice. And I believe that if enough people felt comforted in the idea that if there was enough good to support their good, more people would be more willing to put out more good energy. And I say all that to say this. Because there will probably never be enough angels, so to speak, in the world to offset the number of demons, the number of negativity in the way of energy that there is in the world. The best thing for us to do as individuals is to provide that balance within ourselves. You have to get to know yourself in such a way that you can come to a full understanding about how much you can provide and how many people you can be in service of, and in what manner you can be in service of those people, while at the same time maintaining enough energy, enough sanity, enough mental health, emotional health to, at the end of the day, preserve yourself. Because if you give too much of your positive force and there's too much negative to consume that positive force, eventually you'll go crazy. There's not a human being alive that can provide that much positive in the face of that much negative. So seek to be in service of people. Seek to sacrifice for people. Seek to give of yourself to people. But never give more than what you can handle. Never give more than what your sanity, your health, your comfortability would allow. If we all learn that balance within ourselves, and if we all learn that ratio of what we can give and what we need to keep in order for ourselves to be okay, if we all learn that, then I believe that there will be enough of a spark to inspire more people to put out more positive energy. Because when they say energy is neither created nor destroyed, merely transformed from one state of entropy to the next, that's true. But there's a part there that they're leaving out. Energy doesn't come from without. It doesn't create itself. It doesn't exist in and of itself. It comes from within and it's exhumed outward. So you have to put out negative energy for there to be negative energy. You have to put out positive energy for there to be positive energy. And anybody, I don't care who they are. I don't care what temperament they are. I don't care what walk of life they come from. I don't care what race, what gender, what sexual orientation or classification they subscribe to. We are all capable of putting out both negative as well as positive energy. It's about a choice that we make. And I understand that sometimes those choices are made for us early on in life before we have a chance to develop fully and make those choices. But we all need to come to a realization at some point in our lives, and some people reach that realization earlier, some people reach it later. But I believe the vast majority of us, if you live long enough, eventually you will come to the realization that the best energy, The best force to put out into the world is positive. It's just that too many of us don't get the chance or the opportunity to reach that realization or to have that epiphany. So that's all I stopped through to say. Y'all know me. I'm about peace and love. I'm about prosperity for everybody. But above and beyond any and everything, I'm about peace of mind. And I will never sacrifice my well-being for the sake of others. But I will sacrifice any excess that I have to be in service of others. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm my biggest fan. So be yours. Peace and love.